Hello and welcome to another movie review here on my channel. And this is the season final, so let's hope it is the best review ever. It will never be that. Anyway, today we're going to look at the Maze Runner. Yes indeed. Basically it is in the category called, well, the young adult novel thing is, well, an adaptation from the books based on the same name, but nowadays they basically take the first movie's name and put on the second book's name on the other part or whatever. Just like the Hunger Games, Catching Fire, but the second book is just called Catching Fire. But anyway, The Maze Runner, another the Hunger Games, Twilight, the variant franchise. But let's start with the story. The story is basically that we will see the main character Thomas. We start up in an elevator. He wakes up, freaking out a little bit. He doesn't know where he is or who he is as well. He have forgotten everything. He basically remembers nothing. He comes up to a glade, a little bit of a forest. There are a lot of teenage boys is waiting for him, basically, because on this elevator every month they will get fresh food that they will, well, eat, basically. Reinforcements and everything comes from that elevator every month, and with the elevator they also get another person that will join them on their survival test. I don't know, something like that. Of course he freaks out a little bit because he doesn't know who he is or where he is, and doesn't know why he are there. So, but the other boys around there, the main leader, I think he is named Arby, are trying to explain everything for him, and that they all come up with basically amnesia and will later on remember their names and everything. Well, as much as they can, basically. During the first couple of minutes, you will see him looking around and looking at basically the maze wall, which is a big wall around this glade that is basically a big maze. They're bad creatures called the Cleavers, or was it the Cleavers? I think it was the Cleavers. Anyway, Cleavers, maybe it was. Something like that. Anyway, live and is, well, basically joking around in there. One of the things that happens when you go against one of these creatures is that if you get stung, you will get infected and will basically die, or well, get thrown out from the glade or this small society of these teenage boys. One weird thing is that there is no girls there, but no questions asked, basically. The only person that is allowed to lead this glade and go out in the maze is basically the guys that is called the runners, which is basically boys or the guys in this society that's basically can run and should map out the entire maze and try to figure out how they can get out of there. They also have doctors, guards, gardeners and everything that a small society actually needs. Later on, everything goes downhill, basically. One gets stung during the day because that usually only happens at night, and Thomas gets accused for it, basically because he's the new guy, and everything went bad when he did arrive, basically. Later on he runs into the maze because Arby and another guy, I can't remember his name, have been hurt and he's trying to save them, but they get stuck in the maze through the night. During that night, he actually kills one of the Reavers, or what they are actually called, one of these big creatures, because he run like a free runner, I don't know. And because of that, everyone is accusing him, because everything goes even more downhill from there. Because the elevator comes up again, but it hasn't gone a month. And this time it actually is a new member in the group. And this is actually the first girl in the group. But it's also the last group member, because you will see that later on in the movie in the end. That because of that, the elevator doesn't go down again in the shaft, and well, everyone freaks out a little bit, and yeah. But also during the nights, well, before that, Thomas become one of the runners and is trying to figure out everything, and yeah, it is really up and down when it comes to this storyline. It goes from there and there and there and there, but it is a great red line in my opinion so far. But it gets a little bit weirder, because I don't know what this creature is, because they found sensor or something inside of this creature, which is basically hybrid between flesh and machine, if you can call it that. Basically a creature cyborg, and this thing they take out basically is a key to a door that basically led out of this maze. That is a little bit confusing, but just go with it. After that, everything goes even more downhill, and this Reavers actually gets in the glade at night and kill off basically 2/3 of the group. Of course, Thomas gets accused for it, and well, after that the group basically split up. The ones that stay at the glade and the ones that is following Thomas. Thomas and this group actually get out of the maze, but did find out why they were put there, basically because the world was scorched by the sun. And because of that, a virus basically infected a lot of the humankind. It's kind of confusing that the sun basically does that, but anyway. Because of that, they try to figure out a cure, and one of the reasons that all of these teenagers actually was in the maze is that they find out that, they were trying out of cure there. And they find a cure that actually cure this disease, but yeah. And in the end, one of Thomas' friends die. The bad guy, not technically the bad guy, but just a guy that is freaking out because of Thomas dies, and everyone is happily ever after, but not really. This corporation basically in the end say, let's just start another trial, because the maze were basically a trial to test out these teenagers with this cure and everything, and then it ends because they want a sequel. Yeah. Overall, in my opinion, this movie is, the story is up and down. The story is really interesting in the start and builds up a lot. But when it comes to actually explaining why they actually are there, and how they get there in the end, and the creatures, the disease and everything, it felt kind of short in my opinion. It is really interesting to see everything in action, in my opinion. The story isn't that complicated, but it isn't one of the best to figure out. But you basically need to figure out after. You will basically need to watch the whole movie before you actually find out what actually happened and why they are there, which is actually really twisty, but whatever. The acting is up and down. Overall, it is a decent experience to watch them. They aren't that bad. There are a lot of child actors and actresses. One actress. many child actors and teenagers. That is good sometimes, bad sometimes. You know what it is. They are decent for the most part, so I let it go, basically. When it comes to the effects and environments, they are amazing. I looked at the budget for this movie, which is basically 34 million US dollars, according to Wikipedia, which is really low for what they actually did show on the screen, in my opinion. It is really greatly put together. The CGI is amazing, in my opinion. The creatures are really cool and not bad at all. They look actually real, which is actually kind of weird, because sometimes in big budget movies they can't really get the creatures real because it is looked a lot more cartoonish, if you know what I mean. One example is the Maleficent creatures. But yeah. Overall, the Maze Runner is actually a decent experience. It is really a great story. It is well put together, in my opinion, but sometimes it fell short when it comes to actually explaining what actually happens in this world, and why it actually happens, and why they are there, what the creatures are, which is actually never explained. They are just reavers or whatever they are called. And yeah, maybe next movie, whoever knows. This is the first of a trilogy. They have said so far they are going to make the Scorch Trials. This is the second one, and a third movie is probably going to happen. So yeah, the rating for the Maze Runner are going to be 7.9 out of 10. It is a really great movie, in my opinion. Really decent. The effects are amazing. The acting can go up and down, which is why the rating is actually a little bit down. When it comes to the story, because it doesn't explain that much in this movie, I put the score a little bit down as well because of that. And yeah, I really recommend this movie, even though it is another young adult movie. It is kind of decent, not as good as the Hunger Games, but whatever. It is great in my opinion. That's all for today, folks. And that's all for this season of review, or movie review, I call it on YouTube. And hope to see you next season for season 3. Hope to see you soon. Bye.